All right, guys, we're going to get started. We have two coaches that aren't here at the moment. Ted Donato is en route, and we actually have Coach Schaeffer from Cornell. I have him on phone here. He's on speaker. He got stuck last night and couldn't get a flight out of Vancouver, but will be joining us, and we'll put the phone up to the mic when it's his turn to respond to some questions. Well, thanks for everyone for coming out to Media Day, and welcome to the 2017-18 ECAC hockey season in our annual Media Day as the league officially embarks on its 57th season of play. For those guys out there who don't know me, my name is Ed Krajewski. I'm Assistant Commissioner. I work with Steve Hagwell. Today we are live from the ECAC hockey offices at the Times Union Center in Albany, New York. In addition to fielding some questions from our media members present today, our format, again, has a nice fun twist to it. We set up a chat line several days ago so media members who weren't here could send in their questions ahead of time, and we did get a bunch of them. So those guys who are out there watching, I do appreciate you guys sending those in. And we're also going to be fielding questions from you folks who joined us today. Before we get started, if everyone could mute their cell phones or place them on vibrate so we don't get any interruptions. The league is coming off another successful campaign where it saw four of our squads, Harvard, Cornell, Union, and Quinnipiac, each finished in the top 20 this year, with the Crimson advancing to the Frozen Four. We hope to continue this momentum that we've gained over the last several seasons and continue to place our stamp in the college hockey world. These are the guys to my left who make that happen each and every year for us and make our conference the best from top to bottom. We have our coaches right here, and they're going to provide some insight on the upcoming season, commenting on some questions and addressing some of the issues going on with their teams and on campus. Before we meet our coaches, I do want to call up our Commissioner, Steve Hagwell, who has guided the league since April 2014, to say a few words. Please join me in welcoming Steve Hagwell.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome. And I'm glad that Ed said a few words because we compared notes a few minutes prior to this, and he said just about everything that I was thinking about saying. So it's a great time for this league. It's fun to be part of this league. It's a very special time and a very special league. We have certainly a lot of people that help out with that. The league staff being only two people, we need a lot of help, and we do. We get a lot of support, and many of you are here today. Before I want to steal a little Ed's thunder, I want to acknowledge Dave Smith, the new coach at RPI, first year. Thanks for being here in his first media day, and we'll look forward to many more. It is a fun time, despite that it's 80 degrees out and it's 70 September, so it is hockey season, and this commences our start for our race for our Cleary Cup, which is our regular season trophy, and so that'll culminate with our Whitelock Cup in Lake Placid each year. And our friends from Lake Placid are here. I want to take a moment to acknowledge their support and our partnership with our championship in Lake Placid. That obviously is a very special place and a magical place for many, and we look forward to being there in March again this year. So I only wanted to say that and acknowledge a few people, and let's get the show on the road. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Before we begin the press conference, let me introduce our 12 coaches to you guys. As we enter the 2017-18 season in ECAC hockey play, the conference has maintained its strong roots throughout its storied existence, as 5 of the head coaches lead their programs at their alma maters, and 10 have played in the league as student athletes. First, from Brown, Brendan Whittet being one of those coaches, coaching at his alma mater. Next, head coach at Clarkson, Casey Jones, whose squad plays 7 of their first 8 games against teams that competed in last year's NCAA tournament. Next to him, we have Colgate's coach, Don Vaughn, who is 10 wins shy of reaching the 400 win mark for his career. As I mentioned, Coach Schaeffer isn't here, but I do have him on the phone. Coach Mike Schaeffer, head coach of the Big Red. Cornell has advanced to the ECAC Hockey Championship weekend 7 times in the last 10 years, which is tops among our 12 league teams. Next, head coach at Dartmouth, Bob Garnett. He's coaching at his alma mater as well. Coach Garnett has been behind the bench as a head coach in over 900 overall contests during his tenure as an ECAC hockey head coach. Ted Donato, who is en route. Ted is head coach at Harvard. He is someone who has experienced success as a player at the collegiate, professional, and international levels. Next, starting up the second row, we have head coach Ron Fogarty. The Tigers will welcome an 8-member class in its class of 2021. Filling in for Coach Pecknall today from Quinnipiac, we have Neil McKinney, Director of Hockey Ops for the Bobcats. Next, we have new head coach at Rensselaer, who took over the reins, Dave Smith, in last April. Welcome to ECAC hockey coach. Next, we have Mark Morris, who returned to the Saints program last season after a highly successful career in the collegiate ranks and the professional ranks. Next, we have reigning ECAC hockey Tim Taylor Coach of the Year Award winner, Rick Bennett. Welcome, Coach. And finally, from Yale, we have Keith Elaine, who has won over 200 games in just 11 seasons behind the bench with the Bulldogs. Before the coaches begin taking questions, let's find out the results of our preseason polls. And I have these results of our all-league team, preseason all-league team, and our preseason coaches and media polls printed out. I'll put those out on the table for you guys after the press conference before lunch. All right. Here is our list of our coaches poll. First, we have Harvard, which received 9 first-place votes in a total of 119 total points. Second, we have Quinnipiac, which received 1 first-place vote and 106 points. Cornell is in the 3rd spot, garnering 1 first-place vote and 95 total points. In the 4th position in the coaches poll, we have Clarkson, which received the final first-place vote, earning 91 total points. 5th, we have Princeton, garnering 80 points. It's Princeton's highest mark in the poll since 2009-2010. In the number 6 spot, we have Union with 75 points, followed by St. Lawrence with 69 points. Coming in the number 8 spot is Yale with 54 points. Number 9 is Dartmouth with 33 points. Number 10 is Rensselaer with 32 points. Number 11 is Colgate with 23 points. And in the 12th spot is Brown with 21 points. Now it is time to meet our preseason coaches, all conference selections. We have some familiar faces and team leaders on this roster. First in goal, from Harvard, Merrick Madsen. Our defenseman is selected by our coaches. We have 2 defensemen, Adam Fox from Harvard and Chase Prisky from Quinnipiac. Our 3 forwards, first from Harvard, Ryan Donato. Next from Yale, we have Joe Snively. And finally, our 3rd forward from Princeton, we have Max Verano. Now it is time to find out how the media sees it. Each year, Ken Schott, spokesperson for the ECAC Hockey Beat Writers Association, has spearheaded this process for us. Ken, if you would kindly step up and to the podium and share with us our 19th annual preseason media poll and media all-conference results. Thanks. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate the words. Our 19th annual ECAC Hockey Media Association poll. I'll start with the all-conference team. We had 2 unanimous selections, both from Harvard, junior forward Ryan Donato and sophomore defenseman Adam Fox. The rest of the team, we agreed with the coaches, Max Verano and Joe Snively. And on defense, Quinnipiac's Chase Prisky and senior goaltender from Harvard, Merrick Madsen. For the poll, we had 30 media members voted, and I want to thank every one of them for taking part in the poll. And I hope I didn't bug you too much about getting your votes in. Harvard tops the poll. They received 25 first-place votes and 342 points. Okay. Quinnipiac's number 2. They received 3 first-place votes and 324 points. Cornell is 3rd, 1 first-place vote, 272 points. Princeton 4th, 246. Clarkson was fifth with 231 points. There was a tie for sixth between Union and Yale with 195 points, with Union receiving one first-place vote. St. Lawrence is eighth with 188 points. Dartmouth ninth with 110. Rensselaer 10th with 82 points. Brown is 11th with 76 points, and Colgate 12th with 68 points. Let me say a few other words here. I've spent 34 years in the sports writing business, the last 27 at the Daily Gazette in Schenectady. This week is my final week at the paper. I'm leaving to take a job with WRGB as a news assignment editor at the state news station there. Covered college hockey for 25 years for the Gazette. Covered, obviously, Union, RPI, and it's been a fun ride, especially with Union, especially the early days. You didn't know if they were going to make it as a D1 program. But you saw how the program developed in the 2000s, first with Kevin Sneddon, and then Nate Lehman, and then Rick Bennett, and culminating with the 2014 NCAA championship for the Dutchmen. To be able to cover that team for 25 years was a memorable experience for me. And for all the coaches I've dealt with over the years, I know probably annoyed you with some of my questions. But I have the utmost respect for you, and you've helped make my job a lot easier. I'll miss being able to talk to you guys. Well, I'll probably get the games in Union, so maybe I'll get to say hi to you before the game or something like that. But it's been a blast, and I'd like to thank Steve Hagwell, Ed Krajewski, and thank you.
Thanks, Ken, for putting the poll together, and thanks to all the media members who partake in the poll each year. Ken really spearheads this process. We get 30 plus each year, and he really is the backbone behind it. He's been a great ambassador and promoter for our league, and I'm sure we're going to see him around the rinks, and best of luck in your new position, Ken. Again, copies of all releases will be made available for everyone after the press conference. And we'll be posting all the information on our league site and circulating via social media shortly. Now we're going to open it up for questions for the coaches. Prior to asking a question, please introduce yourself and your affiliation. Victor is back there. Step up, Victor. He has a microphone, and he'll get it in your hands. I'll start it out from a question from our media chat line that we opened up several days ago. The first one is going to be for head coach Casey Jones at Clarkson. Coaches, if you guys can just look right into the cameras when answering questions as well, that would be great. For Casey, this one comes from Cap Carey at the Watertown Daily Gazette. The Golden Knights just named their captain and assistant captains a few weeks ago. Captain Nick Parag is going to wear number 6 this year. He wore number 20 through his first 3 seasons. Number 6 has been unofficially retired since the late captain Mike Morrison passed away in July of 1989 in a work-related accident. Can you share with us why Parag will wear the number 6 jersey this season, please?
Yeah, sure. We're really excited about that. We had the Morrison family come back on campus, and I got a little bit behind-the-scenes feel for what his legacy meant and who he was, and they gave us the opportunity that if we had a leader that really embodied what Mike embodied, and they would like to see the number back on the ice surface. And we thought about it for a few years, had made a move on it, but this year with Nick Parag being a unanimous selection for captain for our team, he's going into graduate program in our program, fantastic in the community, fantastic work ethic, tremendous leader. It just felt right. It felt like he was the person to if we're going to get that number back on the ice, and people cheering for number 6 in Cheel and our fan base, he was the right person to have that, and we I brought it to his attention, asked him if he would be willing to take it. He's taken it as a great honor. I know he'll really embody what the family wants and how hard that number will work for the fans, for his teammates, and for the program. And we're real excited that we're going to bring it back on the ice. Not going to be used all the time, but we feel when the timing's right, number 6 will be on the ice, and it'll be when someone can embody what might meant to the program and the community.
Thanks, Coach. That's a good story. Questions for the media? Questions for media present? Just raise your hand. We'll get the mic to you. While we're waiting for that question, I'm going to go ahead and ask another question that came in on our chat line. This one for Princeton's head coach, Ron Fogarty. A similar question was asked by 2 or 3 media outlets. Now that a good trajectory has been built in the Tigers program, how does your team keep the momentum going, developing, and take even more steps this season? And what is that next step?
Well, I think that we just have to continue to play and practice day by day. You know, the league is very good. You know, the predictions are flattering, but you know, you can't base what happened last year of what's going to occur each and every game in the ECAC. The coaches are too good. A lot of the incoming freshmen are excellent. They can step right in and be impact players. So for us to take the next step, you know, we're a under 500 team last season. So I guess the next step is to be over 500. But you have to make sure that you keep living in the moment and keep practicing to your best ability and continue to get better every day. And it's cliche, everyone uses it, but we stand by that and worry about what you're doing right now and the process, and everything else will take care of itself.
Thanks, Coach. Questions for our media members, from our media members present?
Mike McAdam, Daily Gazette. Question for Ted Donato. You guys made a nice deep run in the NCAAs last year. How much does that experience, will that be useful for the guys that are back on this year's team as well as a motivating factor?
I definitely think it's helpful in the sense that, you know, if you make it that far but you don't have, you don't finish the job, there are a lot of guys that, you know, want to get back and have, you know, another opportunity. You know, I would echo what Ron said. Each year is different, but you know, I think there certainly is a benefit of having your players have an opportunity to play, you know, in those big games or you know, in those big venues. So you know, I think there's a balance with it in that you know, you don't want to forget all the hard work and you know, preparation and improvement that your team needs to undergo to be able to have success at the end of the year. But, you know, I think it was certainly a nice run, but, you know, we have to start from scratch just like everybody else again.
Other questions from media members present? All right, I'm going to take a question from our chat line. This one for head coach Bob Garnett. It's from Nathan at uscho.com. Goaltender Devin Buffalo seemed to have kept you guys in a lot of games last season. Is there something you wanted him to improve on this summer heading into the upcoming season?
Buff came in great shape this fall. It was his first year as a starter last year. He was behind Chuck Grant and Jim Kruger for a couple of years. So as a junior, he had a chance to play and did a good job for us. I think what we're looking for from Buff is a little bit more consistency. He's a mature kid. He's an older kid now. I think there's going to be really good competition with Adrian Clark, a sophomore, and Dean Schatzer. They're going to be pushing Devin Buffalo. But Buff's a great guy, worked really hard for us, a real leader on our team, real inspirational guy. So I'm looking for a great year from him.
Thanks, Coach. Other questions out there from your media members? All right. Next question, I'll pull from our chat line again. This one for Yale's head coach, Keith Elaine. Coach, you were recently named as an assistant coach for the men's team at the upcoming Winter Games in South Korea. This will be your 3rd time serving as an assistant coach on an Olympic staff, having been part of coaching staffs in 1992 and 2006. This is basically a 2-part question. What are your specific duties going to be with Team USA, and how are the responsibilities handled in New Haven while you're away?
First of all, I'd like to say that I've really been truly blessed with the opportunities that USA Hockey is giving me. And, it started with that 92 team. The late Dave Peterson was the head coach, and he gave a young assistant an opportunity to have the hockey experience of his lifetime. So anytime I get an opportunity to work with USA Hockey, I really jump at the opportunity. With this team, we have a deep staff, and I think there'll be a lot of overlap in our responsibilities. My primary roles will be pregame preparation, so that means pre-scouting our opponent, and then running the meeting for our next opponent in the pregame. And then also I'll be dealing directly with our goaltenders, which is something I've done in the past. In terms of our team in New Haven, obviously it as great an opportunity as the Olympics is I hate to even miss a practice with our hockey team at Yale, but I also understand that with my two assistants, Josh Zambita and Ryan Donald, they're great young coaches. And I think my absence will give them an opportunity to step outside their comfort zone a little bit, give them a different voice, give our players an opportunity to hear from a different coaching staff. So I do think that over the long haul, that we'll all be better for that opportunity.
Thanks, Coach. Our next question will be for head coach Mike Schaeffer, who we have on the line here. This is from Will with ESPN Ithaca. With the Big Red returning to the NCAA tournament last season, the roster seems to be getting smaller and faster, but as skilled as ever. This year's 10 freshmen certainly looked the part with 136 combined goals from 5 incoming rookies alone. Can you comment on the transition within the program, please?
Well, the transition, I mean, everybody's trying to recruit guys that they think they have offensive potential, and fortunate for us, those guys at the junior level, did the job, and now the transition with the program is hope that these guys come in and they can do the exact same thing at the college level. But that's I don't know what the transition, but we want to continue to get faster, just like everybody else, as much as possible. But I think Jake Widener again was one of our best players last year, and he wasn't the fleet of the footers, so he was. Players all come in different shapes and sizes, and we just hope this first group of freshmen can contribute.
Thanks, Coach. Any other questions out there? I don't want to monopolize everything, but I do have plenty of questions here that came in over our chat line. But just feel free to raise your hand. Victor will get the mic to you guys. Next question from Nate at uscho.com for head coach of Colgate, Don Vaughn. The Raiders lost their top 2 scorers from last season and finished 12th in scoring in overall games among league teams. What are you looking for this year to generate offense?
Well, first of all, we need to be a better puck possession team for sure. I mean, we chased a lot of games last year, and it was frustrating for all of us. I mean, we have a style that we want to play. Obviously, it didn't pan out the way we had hoped. We were close in a lot of games. We came up, I think, 1 goal short in 12 games. So, we were getting there, but we never quite got to where we wanted to be. So first and foremost, we have to find a way to possess the puck a lot more. And a big part of that is you have to work pretty hard to go get it back after you lose it. And I think our young guys last year just didn't quite understand how hard you do have to work at this level to retrieve pucks and get them back. We do have some offensive players. We think Bobby McMahon, can contribute in a big way this year, make a big step as a sophomore. Jared Cockrell, who's playing alongside his junior centerman this year, who's a freshman in Josh McKechnie. So having those two playing together has been fun to watch already. So we're hoping that the sophomores or the freshmen, last year's freshmen, can step up as sophomores and contribute. Cockrell and McMahon being 2 of those. And we have a senior in Evan Peterson who, he scored at every level before coming to Colgate. It hasn't worked out, but we're hoping for some big things from him. He's a captain this year, and Adam Dowda we think can contribute as well. He missed the better part of 6 weeks last year with an injury, so he's healthy and back. And we need these guys to step up. But more than anything, we need to learn how to possess the puck more, and that's a lot of what we're going to spend our time on early here.
Thanks, Coach. Next question for Rensselaer head coach Dave Smith. Your team recently your team recently went on a 4-day bonding trip last month to help out a community in Ontario. Can you share with us how that came about and what did you guys do there?
Yeah, thanks, Ed. It was really just so we could get to know each other. We could accelerate the chemistry and the bonding, and that's going to happen rather quickly when you're on an island with no plumbing. And so that experience was able to establish a leadership group with a new team, was able to give back to the community of Britt, Ontario, with various activities. And it came about, my father-in-law, Gary Sabrin, who played 11 years in the NHL, is from that small community. And when it's a large hockey mindset up there, and just sharing some of my thoughts with them, they suggested it and thought that they could help. We couldn't have done it without the help of Wrights Marina and all the friends and family that are up there. But the intent was to give back to the community and to have some team bonding, and it was a tremendous experience.
Great, thanks. Next up, a question from Josh at collegehockeynews.com for head coach Brendan Whittet. Coach, goaltending has been an area of trouble for you guys in recent years. What do you foresee in that role this year, and what are you expecting from your goaltenders this season, please?
I mean, I think it's all encompassing. Statistically, you look at our goaltenders and they, we've struggled, but it's not all on them. We have to be much better defensively, and I think some of those things get sorted out through competition, through allowing our goaltenders the opportunity to grow. I mean, we put a lot on Gavin Nato last year as a freshman. Again, for a team that I thought struggled defensively. So statistically, it's not a year that he would look back on. And upon reflection, I should say, it's a situation where we just got to get better. And we're going to work with our guys. Again, it's all encompassing, though. It's not just the goaltenders. We have to be much better all around.
Thanks, Coach. Anything out there? Any questions? Just let me know. Victor has a mic behind you guys. Just put your hand up and we'll get it to you. Next up, a question for head coach Mark Morris at St. Lawrence. This is from collegehockeynews.com. Coach, senior forward Mike Marnell is a guy who was plagued with injuries last season, missing a dozen or so games. Yet he still was one of the best goal outputters in the league. Is he someone you guys are expecting to have a big year from?
Yes, Mike's a very talented, speedy forward, extremely creative. Without question, I think he's got the most talent on our team. And we missed him when he wasn't in the lineup. He's great on the penalty kill. He's great on the power play. He makes players better when he's out there, and he plays at an extremely high level. He looks like he's in great shape right now, and keeping him healthy will be a big part of our season this year. So I know he's anxious to play a full season, and we're going to count on him.
Thanks, Coach. Next up, this question is for Neil at Quinnipiac from Bernie at Giant Sports. With Rand gone for 24 days or so, back in the spring assisting Team USA at the International Ice Hockey Federation World Junior Championships in Germany, what did he bring back to his staff and share? And what were his specific duties with the team? Did he share that with you guys as well?
Thanks, Ed. First, I want to say Rand would like to be here today. He's at a USA Hockey charity event. As far as the question goes, obviously it's great to have someone like Rand or your head coach going to a USA Hockey event or a USA Hockey World Championships and to learn from some of the other NHL coaches that are there, some of the high-level coaches that he was able to learn from. As well as work with some high-end players, NHL players, and to be able to have that opportunity was great for us as a staff to kind of learn some things from him. And I think he was mainly involved with the power play there, and they were running at I think almost 27%. So really had some great success with the World Championship, and it was good to have him come back and kind of share some of those things that he learned with us.
Thanks, Neil. Next, we have a question from Josh at collegehockeynews.com for Coach Bennett. Coach, you have 9 newcomers added to your 2017-18 roster. What is the message that you and your staff convey to rookies at your initial team meetings?
Pay attention. That's first and foremost. But the first message is to come in shape. We're ready to go, but really is to, listening is a skill. So I think that's first and foremost, and that's been a work in progress here. The few times that we've been on. So just got to adapt as quickly as they possibly can and kind of go from there. And I also just like to say congratulations to Keith. That's a tremendous honor, and go USA. And I got a couple guys that I think our coaches up here would probably recommend the Donato kid. It's not bad. Masson's not bad, and the Fox kid. So there's a couple guys right there for the team.
Thanks, Coach. Well, sticking on that note, I actually got a question along those lines for Coach Donato from Tim at New England Hockey Journal. In the eventuality that one of your players ends up on the 2018 Olympic team, based on your experience as an amateur Olympian, what might a young player expect in terms of personal development from playing in such an event?
Well, I guess the first thing I would say is congratulations to Keith. I was lucky enough to not only be an Olympian, but also have Keith on the coaching staff. So I'm very confident that he'll do a great job. As far as the experience for a young player, the Olympics to me is just one of the greatest sporting events on so many levels. So to have a chance to represent yourself, your community, your university, your family, in that kind of world event is unique and special. So in general, we'll be pulling hard for any of our players that get that great opportunity, and I think it certainly will be a life memory that they'll cherish.
Thanks, Coach. Sorry about your mic there. I know some people were just exiting. I don't know if he tripped a line or something. We'll check that. All right, moving along. Again, any questions out there? I don't want to monopolize everything. Kevin, any questions? I have a bunch here, so I'm going to go ahead and keep on asking unless I see your hands up in the air, if that's all right. Next, another question for Casey at Clarkson. This is from the folks at USCHO.com. You're playing a tough early schedule again this season. What goes through the process in deciding who to schedule in the early season?
Yeah, I've been asked that question a lot here this year. Just take it upon ourselves. I think we do it for 2 ways. I use a scheduling component of it. Is I think it's important we play. We get our players to different places for different experiences as a student athlete, and I like to play the best. I like to try to get outside our comfort zone and play teams that come in and are going to challenge you. I think the ECAC is a fantastic league. A few of my years here, I've said this before, I didn't think we were prepared when ECAC opened play, and we got hit hard early season games, and it set us back in the league standings. And I want our early schedule to give us the opportunity to be prepared for the type of teams we're going to see and the level of competition we're going to see within our league. We want our fans in the North Country to experience different teams coming in, to see the wealth of great teams out there in college hockey. And it's teams are starting to travel more, so we're starting to get different teams in, and it all kind of came to a head this year where we're traveling, and our schedule is intriguing in the month. But we're really excited about our opportunities right in front of us to play some great teams at home, as well as take some neat trips. And work with Mark down the street, work with Greg when he was there, but it gives us an opportunity with two close teams to get multiple teams coming in on weekends, and that's been the root of our scheduling, and we're real excited about this season schedule.
Thanks, Coach. Next question for Rensselaer head coach Dave Smith. This came in from a few different media outlets, a variation of this question. What style of play can we see from the Engineers this season?
Well, I think style of play is a theoretical answer that we're going to want to compete against ourselves first. I've been watching a lot of these great coaches in the ECAC from a distance before getting the job at RPI, and now I've been watching them a lot closer from a seat beside them. And how we're going to play, we want to do all the things that everybody talks about. We want to possess the puck. We want to, show the energy and the enthusiasm to get it back when we don't have it. We want to score goals and keep goals out of our end, out of our net. So I think you'll see all 5 guys active and involved in all 3 zones. I think if we start with that mindset, I think it answers the style of play question.
Thanks, Coach. Question up here up front, Victor, if you want to bring that mic, please.
A question for Dave while you got the microphone there. Pete Doherty, Albany Times Union. Was the Ohio State series scheduled before you took the job? And, either way, is that a good or a bad thing to go back to Columbus to start your RPI career?
Yeah, it was scheduled before. We've, ironically, in my time at Canisius and now at RPI, been able to move some games around so that the opening of the Harbor Center at Atlantic Hockey and now the opening for me both involved Ohio State, where I went to school. So it's a great opponent coming from the Big Ten, where we get to go there. It was done, but I'm excited for me to go back, but I'm more excited for our guys to go in there and show Ohio State and show the Big Ten and show the country really what RPI hockey is going to be.
Thanks. Question back there, Ken, please.
Ken Schatz, Schenectady Gazette. For Keith, given the political climate right now in this country with North Korea, are you concerned for your safety or the players' safety when you go over to South Korea in February?
Not at all, Ken. I think obviously there's a war of words going on with the dictator to the north there, but the people at the USOC and the International Olympic Committee would not put athletes in harm's way, and measures are being taken to make sure the athletes will be safe.
Thanks, Coach. Anything else out there? All right, next question for Coach Garnett. This from Nathan at USCHO.com. With a challenging schedule in the first part of the season, do you believe it will help you guys as the calendar year turns once you hit league play?
Yeah, much like Casey mentioned, we want to play a great schedule and a schedule that helps us get ready to play in a really, really tough ECAC league. It's really, I think, the finest league in the country. But we have a reciprocal thing. We played Denver a couple of years ago, and we're going out to play Denver, the national champions, defending national champions. And we also have Minnesota Duluth at home. So those are a couple of really fine teams that we're playing outside of the league, along with a bunch of other ones. But I think it's going to help us prepare for the ECAC schedule. We play, I think, maybe 7 ECAC games in 2017. So the bulk of our schedule is in 2018. So we got a good young team, and I think this will help us.
Thanks, Coach. Next, we have a question for Coach Fogarty at Princeton from the folks at collegehockeynews.com. Coach, what are you looking for on the blue line, and how do you see your goaltending shaking out?
Can you ask me that question in a month from now? Don't know. We have 2 relatively inexperienced goalies when it comes to the games, and a freshman coming in. So with our exhibition game against University of Western Ontario and our 2 scrimmages, we'll have a chance to see who's going to be in goal for the first non-conference game against Holy Cross. Our defense corps coming back is experienced, and they're still relatively young, but they had experience of some winning ways, and They just got to keep realizing what they do every day is very important to prepare for tough ECAC play. We get right into that after Holy Cross against Cornell and Colgate, and the forwards, defense, goaltending, the coaching staff has to be ready for that time.
Thanks, Coach. Next, for Coach Morris at St. Lawrence. This is from the folks at USCHO.com. Who do you see replacing the defensive minutes lost to graduation last year?
Well, we brought in 4 freshmen D. We lost 4 seniors at that position. Obviously, Gavin Bayreuther leaves a big void. Eric Sweetman, Mike Graham, and Ben Masella were the 4 graduating guys, and we feel like we've got some real stalwart young defensemen that are going to do some real fine things for us. Jake Stevens was one of the top defensemen in the BC Junior League, and then Bo Hansen is another one who had a real strong year in the USHL. Dylan Wolfe, also a big, strong kid that plays a heavy game. He looks to be a guy that'll have a real strong year for us. And then Philip Alfberg, a nifty little Swedish defenseman. So there's 4 new faces coming into the lineup. RJ Gasevitz is a guy that's been on the shelf for us and looks to have come in good shape. Although he's not a freshman, he should add to our depth on the blue line. So we're hopeful that those guys can help shore up our back end and get acclimated right away.
Thanks, Coach. Next, we have a question for head coach Don Vaughn of Colgate. Similar question was asked from USCHO.com as well as collegehockeynews.com. Coach, how do you see playing time and goals shaking up at the start of the season for the Raiders this year?
Well, it'll be competitive. We have a goalie, sophomore goalie in Colton Point that has great credentials. Unfortunately for Colton, he missed almost 8 weeks last year to illness and would have played probably 6 or 7 more games in those 8 weeks. He got his feet under him as the season went on. His last 6 appearances, I think his save percentage was .936. So, we got a taste of what he's capable of. He's had a great summer at different camps, and he's being really pushed right now by our 2 senior goaltenders, Zach Hamilton and Bruce Racine, who have both been exemplary in the net in terms of how they handled it, not playing every day, behind a great goaltender in Charlie Finn. So it's very competitive, but we're hoping that Colton can pick up where he left off in those final 6 appearances last year, and knowing that if that doesn't happen, there's 2 guys waiting right behind him to take the job.
Thanks, Donnie. Any other questions out there? Again, just throw your hand up. Victor will get you the mic. Next question for Coach Whittet from Nathan at USCHO.com. Coach, with your leading scorers returning, how important is it to develop some secondary scoring this season, and how do you go about igniting this?
Oh, it's a nice thing to have our returning guys come back, and it's a good senior class. I mean, secondary scoring's something that I think everybody could use. I mean, it's nice to relieve some of the pressure from some of the top guys, and it's something that we constantly are preaching and working at, and we've had some injuries. I'm sure some guys will step to the forefront, and our goal is just to put them in roles where they will succeed, to give them the confidence and to coach them, again, to allow them to succeed and to be able to provide some secondary scoring, again, to take some of the pressure off some of the returners. So it's not something that I think about all the time, but again, I have confidence in the guys in the room, and I'm sure people will step to the forefront.
Thanks, Coach. Next, we have a question for Neil at Quinnipiac. You guys are a year removed from the NCAA tournament and have several players that have played in a national championship game. What is the mindset of the team? How bad do they want to keep getting to the next step and maybe overcoming the hump, so to speak?
Obviously, when you have players that are coming back for their junior and senior seasons, leadership on your team, we have Chase Prisky, who's going to be our captain this year, and Kevin McKernan, our assistant captain, guys that played in the national championship game. It's great to have them back. They understand what it takes to win games and to be a part of a successful season. So I think that's a huge part of bringing our team to the level we want to play at this season. And our guys came back hungry and had a great offseason with our tremendous strength coach, Brajesh Patel. We're a pretty ambitious team, and we're ready to get back to the tournament. Obviously, it's a really tough conference. So, as most of the other coaches had mentioned, it's ECAC's a battle every night. So, to be able to get to that level, it's going to be tough, but we're hungry.
Thanks, Neil. You mentioned Chase Prisky, who's going to be a captain. For the first time in the 100-plus year history of Harvard, the team has elected 3 captains. Coach, how did that 3-captain election come about? Can you share that with us?
Well, actually, interestingly enough, Harvard has its own set of rules for how a captain's elected. So it was very much followed that procedure. Basically, the players had an opportunity to vote first, I think, for the number of captains and then vote on the captains. So, I think that to me, the best captains that I've been around really are able to incorporate leadership throughout the whole group and not look at it as a individual honor alone. So, we're excited. All 3 of those guys, I think, are very deserving. Jake Horton, Eddie Ellis, and Merrick Madsen. I can't say that I've been around a lot of teams that have had a goaltender as a captain, but I think it's really a true testament of how Merrick handles himself and how his teammates look at him. So, we're real proud of that and happy for him. So, I think we're all looking for leadership. So, I think it's a nice opportunity for those guys to really take hold of the group.
Thanks, Teddy. Next question for head coach Rick Bennett. This comes from the folks at collegehockeynews.com. Like many of your counterparts, you've experienced some key losses to your players heading into this season. Is there someone on your roster that you think that might have a breakout year and take advantage of the opportunity to play a big role for the Dutchmen this year?
Yeah, we're kind of hoping that Brett Sapinski really elevates his game, as well as Cole Mayer. You can throw Sebastian Vidmar there as well. So those, all 3 are juniors. That's what happens when, you lose a couple guys early, but that happens everywhere. No one's going to feel sorry for you, and we just got to move on. And it's just a great opportunity for those guys to really make the next step in their progression.
Thanks, Coach. Next question for Keith Elaine. This comes in from USCHO.com. Having forward Ryan Hitchcock, who was injured in the 17th game of last season and missed the remainder of last season, he's back in the lineup. What does he bring that might have been missing when he was out of the lineup? What does he bring to the Bulldogs?
Yeah, well, when Ryan got injured, he was our first-line center. He was leading our team in scoring. He's one of those guys that plays on the power play, plays on the penalty kill, takes important face-offs for you. So, as everyone up here can tell you, that you lose guys during the year, and losing Ryan was a blow for us. But he comes back. He had a great summer. He is our captain this year, and he's really excited to be going back. I think if we can get him healthy for the full season, he'll make a real difference for our hockey team.
Thanks, Coach. Any other questions out there? I'm going to open it up now. Excuse the coaches, and we'll have some one-on-ones. Just see me or any of the other SIDs. We have media outlets, some TV crews here as well. So just SIDs, if you guys can help me with that. I do want to thank everyone for helping us out today. Thank SMG, Aramark, RPI TV, Myriad Productions for seeing this through. Appreciate it. Best of luck to the coaches down the road, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ed.